what is up, fantasy fans? As always, I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mercy: Tears of the Fallen.
In the darkness of the night, when the sky turns over and you are nothing but alone, within you is the light that will shine most fiercely. The gods are at war with us again, and you refuse to choose the side of your people. Keep your tear. Perhaps you will be our guide to the other side. The light that will engulf the shadow in the presence of itself, illuminating its death to the world. One must swim as the sands do at the bottom of the ocean, for the direction it guides you is where you must go. There was no peace at the end of vengeance, but perhaps the moose could finally provide what no blood on his hands would. The worst pain a man can feel is knowing the power he has and not being able to use it.
So, what did I think of Chance Dillon's debut novel, Mercy: Tears of the Fallen? If you're like me, you've been following his kind of updates on this book for a good little minute. I believe Jake from Nerd Level Rising was the first person that put Chance on my radar. He mentioned Chance in some of his NLR videos, so I went ahead, found his channel, started watching them. Believe he posts every Friday. I usually watch them on Saturday, if I don't catch them on Friday. But anyway, that's enough talking about the guy. You should check out his channel. Chance Dillon has an awesome channel. I'm pretty sure if you're subscribed to me, you already know who Chance Dillon is. He has a slightly bigger platform than myself. But what did I think of Mercy: Tears of the Fallen? So, getting it out of the way, I did get an advance reader copy. I do consider Chance a friend of mine. I just want to clear this up because I feel like this may be a point of contention. I will not positively review a book I don't enjoy. Now, if it's a friend of mine and I did not enjoy their book, I will just not talk about it. So the fact that I'm making this video, I don't really like to make negative review videos, so that should tell you where it's sitting at. It's definitely not below a 3 stars if I'm sitting here and talking about it, but it's actually much higher than that. I'd give this a 4.5 stars overall. Not quite perfect, not quite at that 5 stars, but man, is this thing awesome. I mean, it's got a few flaws, a few things that I think he will improve upon in book 2. And that's one thing I'll say about this. It feels like a debut solely in that he is constantly improving just within this one book. Like, you could see it from the first 100 page to the last 100 page. I mean, the first 100 page were great. Like, I loved the beginning of this book, but man, the second half blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. I was sitting at a 4 stars up until about the halfway point, and then if everything was as good as the second half, this would have been a 5-star read. Not to say that the first half wasn't as good. I really enjoyed the first half. But anyway, enough about that. What did this book do right? So first of all, I will say that this is a very dense read. This is not something that you can kind of, you have the reads where you can just put your brain on autopilot and just read along with it. Love these books, but think, Legend of Drizzt by R.A. Salvatore. You can just kind of, those D&D books where you can just, that is not Mercy. This world is not the cliche. Not to say that those books were cliche, but this is not the stereotypical fantasy that you're thinking of. The races in Mercy definitely have their roots in familiar races, but they're not those races. There's a little bit of a twist to them. There's a lot of fantasy races, a lot of fantasy cultures that are similar to what you've seen before, but definitely tweaked a little bit. And it's tweaked to the point where I do think, this will be a denser read for some people, because he doesn't have these big expository info dumps where he just tells you how everything happened, tells you the lore of the world. There is one kind of info dump, but not really, because it fit within the context. Towards the, 2/3 of the way through the book, you get a lot of explanation of how certain things transpired, but it doesn't feel info dumpy, even though it was, compared to the rest of the book where you're only being drip fed a little bit of information. About 2/3 of the way, if you feel lost, you'll get a good little chunk of the lore explained to you in a very authentic way. I think if people do bounce off of this book, it will be because Chance does not hold the reader's hand. Chance Dillon does not over-explain things. For instance, if 2 characters know something about the world and they're having a conversation, they're just going to talk. They're not going to explain out loud why a thing is the way it is. They're not even going to have an internal monologue where they're explaining the way the world works, because for them, it's, common everyday stuff. So a lot of that is not explained outright. I think that's what serves to make it a denser read. So what I think he did, his two best things are his world building, which I thought was absolutely insane. Taldrius feels very distinct from Maitland, feels very distinct from Mercy, even though Mercy, if you can see from the map he's put out, I don't feel like this is a spoiler, Mercy isn't really explored as much as these other lands, at least in this freshman entry into this world. But each of these lands feel very distinct, and it's inhabited by phenomenal characters. Now let me touch up on the characters that I loved. I thought Marin and his relationship with Eravane was one of the highlights of the book, as well as Alavist when he kind of comes into that relationship. I don't want to get into too much on how that relationship forms between all of them, but I will say that dynamic I thought was really well done. I thought the character of Hade was phenomenal, and I thought a lot of his internal struggle was really well conveyed to the reader and very much endeared me to Hade as a character. Steven and Ilatu, I thought they were great. Salasmir, I really enjoyed his characterization. Kind of a more conflicted type of character. I don't really want to touch on too much of the characters because this book isn't even close to being out yet, but I can say that Hade was a standout. Eravane and Alavist were both awesome. I think most people are going to really enjoy Marin, and then there's a character that appears in the later half named Dulo that I thought was so rad. Like and the way he was introduced was so cool. Anyway, yeah, I can't speak on that because it's spoilery. But this book tells a captivating story with captivating characters and does serve to highlight some very powerful themes about redemption, the weight of loss, and how to overcome that. Touches on addiction and alcoholism a little bit. Not in a very overt in your face way, but it is there. I thought that the way that he shows those flaws with the characters was phenomenal. I think book 2 will be a 5 stars. If he's able to take what was great about the second half of book 1 and iron out, little things about the book, maybe some of his sentence structure. Again, I think his actual technical writing improved drastically throughout the book. Not that it was ever bad. And I think if his first book is this damn good, that only bodes well for book 2. I mean, this dang good. It only bodes well for book 2. I'm super excited to get more in the world of Maitland, Mercy, Taldrius. I think there's going to be 3 more books set in this series, with more planned on the horizon within this world. And for fans of Elden Ring, for fans of Berserk, for fans of Malazan and Critical Role, you're going to find something to love here. You're going to want to check this thing out. So that is my, spoiler-free review of Mercy, Tears of the Fallen. Oh, by the way, I do plan on doing a spoiler-filled gush / convo. I might do some content down the line have Chance on the channel. I'm not sure. Never really had anyone on the channel before, so we shall see how that goes. But definitely want to talk about this book in a more spoilery setting because I have a lot of thoughts about different scenes and I want to explore that. And yeah. Anyway, comment down below if you're excited for Mercy or if you've got your hands on it and what you think. Peace.